Hello folks, Wolf Ninja here, bringing you another nerdy video. Um, if you hear any background audio such as singing or whatever, that is just simply my brother watching television. Now, I tried doing a video earlier, as some of you may know, part one, so to speak, of my discussion series involving Druids. Now, sadly, that got interrupted by, well, me going on my usual tangents, but as well as sadly my sister coming to visit. Now, I want to get part two quickly done, so that's why I came back. So here we go, folks. I'm going to try and get this done as quickly as possible. To be both fair to you guys and fair to my little brother. So, we left off, we talked about the lore, and then we went into how I see some druids and the like. And now we were about to read the table. So from level 1 to 4 you have 2 cantrips, and at level 4 you get an extra one, giving you a total of 3. And then at level 10 you get your 4th cantrip, and that is it for the remainder of your levels. Now, your spell slots per level goes as follows. You start off with 2. At second level, you get your 3rd, and at 4th level, you get your 4th, and that is your maximum for the remainder of the game. Until you reach for the remainder, even when you reach level 20, you will have 4 first level spell slots. You get access to your second level spells at third level, as well as access to your second level spell slots. You start off with 2 once again. You get 3 at 4th level, and then that is your maximum. You get access to your third level spells at level 5. You start off with 2 third level spell slots, and at level 6 you get an extra one, which is your maximum until it's the maximum, that's it. There's no till. It caps off at 3 very quickly. You get access to your 4th level spells at level 7, and you get an extra one at 8th level. This sort of breaks the pattern, because instead of 2 being your cap, instead you get an additional one at 9th. You get an additional one at 9th, and then that's your cap. You get 3 4th level spells for the remainder. And then you get access to your 5th level spells at 9th level, generally when you meet your cap for the last. Then at 10th level you get an additional one, giving you a total of 2. And then this keeps going. You have 2 until you reach level 18, where you then get an additional spell slot for your 5th level spells, and 3 is your max. You get your 6th level spells at level 11. You only have 1 slot for these until level 19, where you get an additional 1, giving you a total of 2, and then that is your maximum. At 7th level, you get access to that at 13. And you only get 1 spell slot for these 7th level spells until you reach level 20, where you get an additional 1, giving you a total of 2. You get access to your 8. Now, remember folks, 8th and 9th, most casters will only allow you to cast each one of those once, and that is the same for the Druid. So at level 15 you get access to your 8th level spells, you only have 1 spell slot, and you get access to your 9th level spells at level 17. And then that acts as your maximum. Now, hold on folks, I'm just going to get a quick sip of... Alright folks, now here are some of the tips that the authors decided to give in terms of creating a druid. When making a druid, consider why your character has such a close bond with nature. Perhaps your character lives in a society where the old faith still thrives, or was raised by a druid after being abandoned in the depths of a forest. Perhaps your character had a dramatic encounter with the spirits of nature, coming face to face with a giant eagle or a direwolf, surviving the experience. Maybe your character was born during an epic storm or volcanic eruption, which was interpreted as a sign that becoming a druid was part of your character's destiny. Have you always been an adventurer as part of your druid calling, or did you first spend time as a caretaker of a sacred grove or spring? Perhaps your homeland was befouled by evil and you took up adventuring life in hopes of finding a new home or purpose. There are some of the tips. Now, the quick builds. Now, this is to ignore backstory, and so I like how creating a druid or creating a class gives you lore and some hints of lore, and also gives you some tips in terms of creating a backstory. Whereas then the quick build is just for like one shots where you're not really caring that much about creating an in-depth backstory. You can create a druid quickly, but here's the recommended stats. First, wisdom should be your highest, followed by constitution, second, and then choose the hermit background. That's yes on the wisdom. The con maybe. I could also say dexterity and then con, because dex will give you, for when you're not in your wild shape form, you'll have then decent combat capabilities, but con could work out just as well. Now, these are just the quick builds. These are recommendations. You don't have to go buy them. Your hit dice at level is 1d8. You have a plus con modifier for your starting health. And your hit point is 1d8 plus con or 5 plus con whenever you level up. You start off with light and medium armor and shields as your armor proficiency. Now, druids will not wear armor or use shields made of metal. So keep that in mind when you're designing your character, and when you're deciding to don new armors and wield a shield. Shields, you can get away with more because you can describe them as being wooden and such, but when it comes to the armor, such as studded leather armor, you have to be a little more careful. Now, this is where, now again, that was only for when it comes to armor and shields. When it comes to weapons, metal is fair game, such as clubs, daggers, darts, javelins, maces, quarterstaffs, scimitars, sickles, slings, and of course spears. They're all fair. Now, technically, you could thematically describe it as your spear being pointed with stone or bone. You know, stuff like that. Your tools, you have proficiency with herbalism. Now, which is a bit weird because I'm not sure if there's an alchemic kit and a herbalism kit as separate, but like in Critical Role, technically when they were transferring over, technically Keelit should have had herbalism kit proficiency, but they played her off that she didn't. Now again, they were porting over from 2.5. Your saving throws are intelligence and wisdom. Now folks, I'm actually going to break this video up into 3 parts, just because again I am babysitting and it'll be it's much fairer to my brother. So the first part went into the lore. This second part is going to go into the vanilla druid, and then I'll do one more video probably tonight going over the archetypes. Now you choose 2 skills from Arcana, Animal Handling, Insight, Medicine, Nature, Perception, and Religion or Survival. So yeah, they're your skill proficiencies you start off with. You choose 2 out of those that I said. You start off with a wooden shield or any simple weapon, and then your next options are you can start off with a scimitar or any simple weapon. So basically you could start off with 2 simple weapons. Or you can start off with a wooden shield and a scimitar, or a wooden shield and another simple weapon. You also start off with leather armor, an explorer's pack, and a druidic focus. Now, Druidic is your very first feature. You know Druidic, the secret language of Druids. You can speak the language and use it to leave hidden messages. You and others who know this language automatically spot such a message. Others spot the message's presence with a successful DC 15 Wisdom perception check, but can't decipher it without magic. That's interesting. It's very much like the first feature that rogues get with Thieves' Cant, except this has you automatically spotting it, where others need to do an actual perception check. So that's very interesting. You also get spellcasting, which we already went over. Now, druids do their spells similar to clerics. They have access to all their spells constantly, and during each long rest, they then select what spells they want to prepare for that day. So if they have, say, Cure Wounds one day, but then they feel like, okay, we're not going to need that much healing the next day, so I'm not going to prepare. I'll take a different spell. So there you go. They also have ritual casting, which allows them to cast spells without spending a spell slot, but it takes 10 minutes longer. They also have spell casting focus. Now, wizards have I don't know, I'll get into that when we get to wizards. Never mind. Now, your spell casting focus could be in the shape of like a sacred plant or wood. There's a little bit of a lore section. I'll get into that at some point later on when I have more time, but we're going to skip it for now. Starting at second level, you can use your action to magically assume the shape of a beast that you have seen before. You can use this feature twice. You gain expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. Your druid level determines the beasts, so you can transform as shown in the beast tables. At second level, for example, you can transform into any beast that has a challenge rating of 1/4 or lower, that doesn't have flying or swimming speed. Now, the table is as follows. At second level, max CR is 1/4, no flying or swimming speed, and it gives you the example of a wolf. Fourth level, a half, no flying speed, crocodile. Eighth level, challenge rating 1, anything, giant eagle. You can stay in your beast shape for a number of hours equal to half your druid level, rounded down, and you revert to your magical form unless you expend another use of this feature. You can revert to your normal form by using a bonus action on your turn, and you automatically revert to it if you fall unconscious or drop to 0 hit points or die. While you're transformed, the following rules apply. Your game statistics are replaced by that of your creature, except you retain your alignment, your personality, and your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. So basically, you only get the con, dex, and strength. If the creature has the same proficiency as you also retain all your skill and saving throw proficiencies. In addition, gain those of that of the creature. If the creature has the same proficiency as you and the bonus is in its stat block is higher than yours, use the creature's bonus instead of yours. If the creature has any legendary or lair actions, you can't use them. Now, when you transform, you assume the creature's hit points and hit dice. When you revert to your normal form, you return to the number of... Now, here's where druids can become tanks. Basically, say if a creature has 100 hit points and you transformed into that. If an enemy deals 100 hit damage to you, let's say you had like 20 hit points and your creature form had 100, and the enemy deals 100 damage to you. You don't die. Instead, you lose to 0 and revert back to your normal humanoid form, and you'll still have all 20 hit points. So it's basically like stacking another health bar on top of your health bar. So there you go, folks. It is absolutely amazing. You're unable to cast any spells, and your ability to speak or take any action that requires hands is limited to the capabilities of your beast form. Transformation does not break your concentration on a spell that you've already cast, however, or prevent you from taking actions that are part of a spell, such as Call Lightning when you've already cast. So basically, if you're playing druids, you can set up like spells before you transform, and then still be able to use them. You retain the benefit of any features from your class, race, or other source, and you can use them if the new form is physically capable of doing so. However, you can't use any of your special senses, such as dark vision, unless your new form also has that sense. You choose whether your equipment falls to the ground, to your space, or merges into your new form, or is worn by it. Worn equipment functions as normal, but your DM decides whether it is practical for the new form to wear a piece of equipment based on the creature's shape and size. Your equipment doesn't change size, shape to match the new form. Any equipment that your new form can't wear must either fall to the ground or merge with it. Equipment that merges with your form has no effect until you leave that form. So yeah, basically, if you have leather armor, you can rule that the creature itself is also wearing leather armor. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So that adds to the possible tankiness. Like, say for example, leather armor I think is the highest that druids can wear. That does not use metal. Let's say you have a wooden shield and leather armor. That's 13 plus 2. That armor that wooden shield could potentially be augmented to be on your back, and then your armor is augmented to fit the form of a tiger. So like the shield's on the tiger's back, and then there's also the armor. Boom! I would rule that tiger could benefit from the armor stats, the AC boosts. Alright, folks. At second level, you also choose your druidic circle. Similar to a wizard, you get your archetype at second level, and you get features based on them at appropriate levels. You have the usual ASI at 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th levels. At level 18, you have Timeless Body. Starting at 18th level, your primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. For every 10 years that pass, your body ages 1 year. Also, beginning at 18th level, you can cast many of your druid spells in the shape you assume using wild shape. You can perform the somatic and verbal components of the druid spell in the beast shape, but you are unable to provide material components. That is really epic. And then at level 20, you have now wild shape unlimited number of times. So there we go, folks. Now the vanilla druid is not much. As I said, I could go on into the circles, but due to the fact that I'm babysitting, I believe it is best for me to leave it at that, and then we'll come back. Druid is actually not that long. It's actually an extremely simple class. Like, despite what they can do, they are extremely straightforward. Like, Druid Circle of the Land is literally just they're literally just one page practically each. So, oh wait, here we go. Archer has more stuff. Sorry. So yeah, you have wild shape and unlimited number of times a day. Additionally, you can ignore the verbal and somatic components of your druid spells, as well as any material components that lack a cost and aren't consumed by the spell. You gain this benefit in both your normal shape and your beast shape from wild shape. So basically, that's like an extension of beast shapes. Because remember, that's an extension of beast spells that you get at level 18. Which, remember, allows you to cast some spells. Now, this allows you to cast any spells, and you now ignore the somatic and verbal components, and you now can ignore some material components, as long as they're not consumed or have a cost. So that is amazing, folks. This is why I said druids can fulfill damage, support, heal, and tank. Now, as a beast, you can actually potentially cast Cure Wounds. Now again, this is at level 20, and by normal tradition, the campaign is wrapping up at level 20. There's not a lot of epic level games, you know? Like, hell, even I'm expecting some of the Lunar Guard to retire by level 20. So, but yeah, folks, the next video, which I'll be probably doing tonight, is going to be focusing around the druid circles. So yeah, we'll be back in a couple of hours, folks, hopefully tonight. Well, this is it. That's Wolf and Ninja signing out. May the force be with you, and remember, roll for initiative.